In the year 2147, something strange appeared at the edge of the solar system. Deep space telescopes, which humans had built to study distant stars and planets, picked up an unusual signal. At first, scientists thought it was just a comet or some kind of space debris. But when they looked closer, they realized it wasn't natural at all. It was a fleet of ships, alien ships, coming from beyond Pluto's orbit. The news spread quickly across Earth. People watched as images of the fleet appeared on screens everywhere. The ships were enormous, far bigger than anything humans had ever built. Their shapes were odd, with jagged edges and glowing lights that pulsed like living things. No one knew why they were here or what they wanted. Some people hoped for peace, imagining friendly aliens bringing new knowledge. Others feared the worst, thinking the visitors might be hostile invaders. Governments around the world held emergency meetings. Military forces prepared for battle, even though everyone knew Earth's weapons were no match for such advanced technology. Scientists tried to send messages to the fleet using radio waves and laser signals. They waited anxiously for a reply, but none came. The alien ships just kept moving, heading toward the inner planets without slowing down. Among those tasked with dealing with this crisis was Captain Ryan Carter. He was the commander of a spaceship called the Eclipse Asterisk, designed for exploration and research. His crew included Dr. Emily Dawson, a smart and curious xenobiologist who had always dreamed of meeting alien life. She believed this could be humanity's greatest moment, a chance to learn from beings far older and wiser than humans. As the fleet approached Mars, panic grew on Earth. Cities locked down, and people stayed glued to their screens, watching every update. Ryan and his team launched the Eclipse Asterisk from a space station near Earth's moon. Their mission was simple: get close enough to the alien ships to gather information, and, if possible, make contact. The journey to Mars felt tense. Everyone aboard the Eclipse Asterisk, knew how dangerous this mission could be. What if the aliens attacked? What if they didn't understand human intentions? Despite the fear, there was also excitement. This was history in the making, the first time humans would meet extraterrestrial beings face to face. When they arrived near Mars, the alien fleet was already there. Dozens of massive ships loomed against the red planet's surface, casting long shadows. Ryan gave the order to approach slowly. The Eclipse Asterisk moved closer, its sensors scanning the alien vessels for any sign of activity. Suddenly, one of the ships turned toward them. Its surface shimmered, and a beam of light shot out, narrowly missing the Eclipse Asterisk. "What was that?" Emily asked, her voice trembling. "I don't know," Ryan replied, gripping the controls tightly. "But I think we just got a warning." Back on Earth, leaders argued about what to do next. Should they retaliate, or should they keep trying to communicate? For now, the decision was made to wait. Ryan and his crew retreated to a safe distance, watching as the alien fleet continued its advance. It was clear now that these visitors weren't interested in talking. Whatever their purpose was, it wasn't peaceful. As days passed, the fleet moved closer to Earth. Cities braced for impact, and millions of people fled to underground shelters. Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was staring into the abyss. The aliens were powerful, silent, and unstoppable, and yet he refused to give up hope. Somewhere, somehow, there had to be a way to stop them. Little did anyone know, the real horror was only beginning. The alien fleet didn't stop at Mars. It kept moving, heading straight for Earth. Cities around the globe braced for the worst as the massive ships entered Earth's orbit. People watched in terror as the glowing vessels hovered above them, casting eerie shadows over entire continents. The invaders didn't speak or respond to any attempts at communication. Instead, they acted with cold efficiency, as if they had no interest in humanity at all. Then it happened. Without warning, beams of energy shot down from the alien ships. They struck cities, military bases, and power plants, reducing everything to rubble in seconds. The destruction was unimaginable. Skyscrapers crumbled like sandcastles, and millions of lives were lost in an instant. The survivors who remained underground could only listen to the chaos above, praying the attacks would end soon. Captain Ryan Carter and his crew aboard the Eclipse watched the devastation unfold from a safe distance near Earth's moon. Ryan clenched his fists as he stared at the screens showing the destruction. "We have to do something," he muttered under his breath. But what could they possibly do against such overwhelming power? Their ship was tiny compared to the alien vessels, and their weapons wouldn't even scratch the surface of those massive machines. Dr. Emily Dawson sat quietly in the corner of the cockpit, her face pale with shock. She had dreamed of meeting aliens her whole life, but this wasn't what she had imagined. These beings weren't curious explorers or wise mentors. They were destroyers. "What are they?" she whispered, almost to herself. "Why are they doing this?" Ryan didn't have answers. All he knew was that sitting back and doing nothing wasn't an option. He called a quick meeting with his crew to discuss their next move. Lieutenant Sarah Blake, the ship's pilot, suggested launching a reconnaissance mission to get closer to one of the smaller alien ships. "If we can figure out how they work, maybe we can find a way to fight back," she said. It was a risky plan, but Ryan agreed. The Eclipse approached one of the smaller vessels cautiously, staying just out of range of its weapons. The ship looked like a twisted mix of metal and flesh, with pulsating veins running along its surface. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. Using the ship's sensors, they scanned the vessel for weak points or entryways. To their surprise, they found what appeared to be an open hatch. Ryan led a small team onto the alien ship, wearing protective suits in case of unknown dangers. Inside, the air was thick and smelled strange, like burnt plastic mixed with something organic. The walls seemed alive, shifting slightly as if breathing. Every step they took echoed eerily through the corridors. They moved carefully, weapons ready, unsure of what they might encounter. As they ventured deeper, they discovered something horrifying. There were no pilots or crew members aboard the ship. Instead, the vessel was controlled by grotesque creatures, part machine, part living tissue. These hybrids attacked without warning, their movements jerky yet fast. The team barely managed to fend them off, retreating back to the Eclipse with their lives intact but shaken to the core. Back on the ship, Ryan and his crew tried to make sense of what they had seen. "They're not piloting the ships," Ryan said grimly. "They are the ships." Emily nodded, her mind racing. "It's like they've been designed to consume everything in their path," she added. "But who, or what, created them?" The realization hit them hard. These invaders weren't here to negotiate or explore. They were biological weapons sent to harvest Earth's resources and destroy anything that stood in their way. Humanity wasn't facing intelligent beings. It was fighting a swarm of relentless, programmed killers. As the team processed this new information, Ryan felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. If they couldn't find a way to stop these creatures, there would be nothing left of Earth or its people. He glanced at his crew, each of them exhausted but determined. Together, they vowed to keep fighting, no matter how impossible the odds seemed. Unbeknownst to them, the true scale of the invasion was only beginning to reveal itself, and time was running out. After their harrowing escape from the alien ship, Ryan and his crew returned to Earth, or what was left of it. The planet was in ruins, with entire cities reduced to ash, and millions of people either dead or displaced. The survivors had gathered in underground bunkers, one of which was called Haven 7. It was a fortified shelter buried deep beneath the surface, designed to withstand even the most catastrophic attacks. Here, the remnants of global leadership worked tirelessly to find a way to fight back. Dr. Emily Dawson spent countless hours analyzing the data collected during their mission. She studied fragments of the alien technology they had brought back, trying to understand how it worked. Her findings were both fascinating and terrifying. The invaders weren't just machines or living creatures. They were something in between. Organic matter had been fused with advanced machinery, creating hybrids that could adapt and evolve at an alarming rate. But the most disturbing discovery came when she examined the programming behind these creatures. They weren't independent beings. They were tools controlled by a central hub somewhere within the alien fleet. They're not thinking for themselves, Emily explained to Ryan and the others during a briefing. They're being directed by something bigger, a mothership. She pointed to a holographic map of the solar system projected in the center of the room. Near Jupiter's orbit, a massive structure loomed over the smaller ships like a queen bee overseeing her hive. If we can disable that hub, we might be able to shut them all down. The idea seemed impossible at first. The mothership was heavily guarded, surrounded by thousands of smaller vessels that acted as its defense. Getting close enough to plant explosives would require precision, stealth, and a lot of luck. But Ryan knew they didn't have any other options. If they did nothing, the invaders would continue harvesting Earth until there was nothing left. Lieutenant Sarah Blake stepped forward, volunteering to pilot the mission. "I'll get us there," she said firmly. "We just need a plan." Together, they began assembling a small strike team. Corporal Jack Monroe, a tough and experienced soldier, offered to join. His combat skills would be invaluable if they ran into trouble. Dr. Alan Hayes, an astrophysicist who specialized in alien propulsion systems, also volunteered. His knowledge of advanced technology could help them navigate the mothership once they got inside. As the days passed, tensions ran high. The crew prepared the Eclipse for the dangerous journey ahead, modifying it with extra armor and weapons scavenged from Earth's ruined military bases. Ryan struggled with the weight of leadership, knowing that many of them might not return. He often found himself talking to Sarah late at night, sharing his fears and doubts. "What if we fail?" he asked her once. "What if this is the end?" Sarah placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "We won't fail," she said, "not while we still have a chance to fight." The night before the mission, the team gathered in the bunker's mess hall for a final meal together. The mood was somber but determined. Jack cracked jokes to lighten the atmosphere, while Alan pored over schematics of the mothership, double-checking every detail. Emily sat quietly, lost in thought. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking into a trap, but she pushed the fear aside. Humanity's survival depended on their success. When the time came to launch, the crew boarded the Eclipse with heavy hearts. As the ship lifted off, Ryan looked out the window at the devastated planet below. Fires still burned across the surface, and smoke filled the air. He clenched his fists tightly, vowing to do whatever it took to protect what was left of Earth. The journey to Jupiter would take several days, giving the team time to prepare mentally and physically. They reviewed their plan repeatedly, going over every possible scenario. Despite the odds stacked against them, they remained focused. This wasn't just about saving themselves. It was about saving humanity. And no matter how slim their chances were, they refused to give up. Unbeknownst to them, the mothership awaited, its defenses primed and ready. The hardest part of their mission was yet to come. The journey to Jupiter was long and tense. The Eclipse drifted silently through the vast emptiness of space, its crew constantly on edge. Every beep from the ship's sensors made them jump, fearing it might be an alien drone or some other threat. Lieutenant Sarah Blake sat at the controls, her eyes glued to the navigation screen. She plotted their course carefully, using the cover of asteroids and debris fields to avoid detection. "We're still clear," she announced after hours of scanning. "But we need to stay sharp." Inside the ship, the mood was heavy. Ryan Carter paced back and forth in the cockpit, his mind racing with thoughts of what lay ahead. He glanced at Dr. Alan Hayes, who was hunched over a tablet, studying the schematics of the mothership. "How are we looking?" Ryan asked. Alan adjusted his glasses and sighed. "It's not going to be easy," he admitted. "The mothership is surrounded by layers of smaller ships. If we try to approach directly, they'll spot us in seconds." But he paused, tapping a spot on the schematic. "There's a blind spot near one of its engines. If we can slip in there, we might have a chance." Ryan nodded, though the plan sounded risky. They would need perfect timing and flawless execution. Corporal Jack Monroe sharpened his combat knife, a grim look on his face. "Just tell me when and where," he said. "I'll handle the rest." His confidence was reassuring, but everyone knew how dangerous this mission would be. As they approached Jupiter, the massive mothership came into view. It was even larger than they had imagined, dwarfing the smaller ships that swarmed around it like insects guarding a queen. Its surface glowed faintly, pulsating with energy. The sight sent chills down their spines. "That thing looks alive," Emily whispered, staring out the window. Sarah guided the Eclipse toward the blind spot Alan had identified. The ship's engines hummed softly as they maneuvered through the crowded field of alien vessels. For a moment, it seemed like they might make it undetected. But then, alarms blared inside the cockpit. "We've got company," Sarah shouted, her fingers flying across the controls. 2 alien drones had spotted them, and were closing in fast. Their jagged shapes shimmered as they accelerated, weapons charging. "Hold on," Sarah yelled, pushing the Eclipse into a sharp turn. The ship rocked violently as she evaded the first wave of attacks. Jack grabbed a mounted laser rifle and fired at the drones through the viewport, managing to disable one of them. The second drone exploded as Alan activated a decoy signal, tricking it into targeting the fake transmission instead. The distraction gave them just enough time to reach the blind spot near the mothership's engine. Sarah brought the Eclipse to a stop, hiding it behind a cluster of machinery that protruded from the hull. Everyone held their breath, listening for any sign that they had been detected. After several agonizing minutes, Ryan finally spoke. "Good work, team. Now comes the hard part." The team suited up in protective gear and prepared to leave the safety of the Eclipse. Using grappling hooks, they climbed onto the surface of the mothership. The metal beneath their feet felt warm, almost like it was breathing. Strange noises echoed around them, hisses, clicks, and low rumbles that made their skin crawl. "Stay close," Ryan ordered, leading the way. They followed Alan's directions, moving cautiously through narrow pathways carved into the ship's exterior. At one point, they encountered another hybrid creature, a grotesque mix of flesh and metal. It lunged at them with startling speed, but Jack stepped forward, firing his weapon point blank. The creature collapsed in a heap, twitching before going still. "Keep moving," Jack urged, wiping sweat from his brow. Finally, they reached the entrance to the mothership's core. A thick door blocked their path, covered in strange symbols that pulsed with light. Alan examined it closely, muttering to himself as he worked. "Almost there," he said, pulling out a device to interface with the locking mechanism. Seconds later, the door hissed open, revealing a dark chamber beyond. Inside, the air was thick and humid, filled with the smell of burning metal. In the center of the room stood a massive structure, a glowing orb connected to countless cables and pipes. This was the hub controlling the entire fleet. "This is it," Ryan said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Let's set the charges." As they began planting explosives, none of them noticed the faint glow spreading across the walls. The mothership was already reacting to their presence. The team worked quickly, placing the explosives around the glowing orb at the center of the chamber. Dr. Alan Hayes handled the detonator, his hand steady despite the tension in the air. "We need to space these charges evenly," he said, checking the placement of each one. "If we don't, the blast won't be strong enough to take out the core." Ryan Carter kept watch near the entrance, scanning the shadows for any sign of movement. The room felt alive, its walls pulsing faintly as if they were breathing. Every sound, the creak of metal, the hum of energy, made him flinch. He didn't trust this place. Something about it felt wrong, like it was watching them. Emily Dawson stayed close to Alan, helping him secure the charges. Her heart raced as she glanced at the glowing orb. It was mesmerizing, almost hypnotic, but there was something unsettling about it too. "Do you think this will work?" she asked quietly. "It has to," Alan replied, tightening a bolt on one of the charges. "If we can destroy the hub, we sever the connection between the mothership and the rest of the fleet. Without it, they'll lose coordination and fall apart." As they worked, Jack Monroe stood guard, his weapon ready. His eyes darted back and forth, searching for threats. Suddenly, he froze. "Guys," he whispered sharply, "we've got company." From the shadows emerged more of the grotesque hybrid creatures. They moved awkwardly, but with surprising speed, their jagged limbs twitching as they advanced. Their bodies were a mix of flesh and machinery, with glowing veins running beneath their skin. Their faces, if they could even be called that, were twisted and unnatural, filled with rows of sharp teeth. "Finish setting the charges," Ryan shouted, raising his own weapon. He fired at the nearest creature, hitting it square in the chest. The shot slowed it down but didn't stop it completely. These things weren't easy to kill. Jack stepped forward, firing rapidly into the horde. One by one, the hybrids fell, but more kept coming. "There's too many of them," he yelled over the chaos. "We're almost done." Alan called back, attaching the final charge to the orb. "Just give us 10 more seconds." Emily scrambled to help Alan connect the wires to the detonator. Her hands shook as she worked, but she forced herself to focus. A loud screech echoed through the chamber as one of the hybrids lunged toward her. Before it could reach her, Ryan fired his weapon, blasting it away. "Stay focused," he ordered. Finally, Alan pressed a button on the detonator. A small red light blinked on, signaling that the charges were armed. "We're ready," he shouted. "Let's move." The team turned and ran toward the exit, dodging attacks from the hybrids. The creatures seemed to sense what they had done and became even more aggressive, slamming into walls and roaring in fury. Ryan covered the rear, making sure no one got left behind. "Keep moving," he urged. They reached the doorway just as the first explosion rocked the chamber. The shockwave knocked them off their feet, throwing them into the corridor outside. Smoke and debris filled the air as the core began to collapse. "Go, go, go," Ryan yelled, pulling Emily to her feet. Sarah Blake was waiting for them near the Eclipse asterisk, her face pale with worry. "Did you do it?" she asked as they sprinted toward the ship. "We did," Ryan replied, climbing aboard. "Now get us out of here." Sarah didn't need to be told twice. She fired up the engines and launched the Eclipse away from the mothership just as a second, larger explosion tore through its hull. The force of the blast sent shockwaves rippling outward, shaking the entire ship. Through the viewport, they watched as the massive structure crumbled, breaking apart into pieces that drifted into space. For a moment, there was silence. Then, slowly, the smaller alien ships surrounding the mothership began to shut down. One by one, they stopped moving, their lights fading until they were nothing more than lifeless hulks floating in the void. Ryan let out a shaky breath, sinking into his seat. "It's over," he said softly. But deep down, he knew it wasn't truly over. The cost of victory weighed heavily on all of them. They had saved Earth, but at what price? And who, or what, had sent these invaders in the first place? As the Eclipse sped back toward Earth, the crew sat in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. They had faced the impossible and won. But none of them would ever forget the horrors they had seen, or the sacrifices it had taken to survive. The journey back to Earth was quiet, almost too quiet. The crew of the Eclipse sat in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. They had destroyed the alien mothership and stopped the invasion, but no one felt like celebrating. The weight of what they had been through, and what they had lost, hung heavy in the air. Ryan Carter stared out the viewport at the endless expanse of space. His mind replayed the events over and over. The battles, the sacrifices, the horrifying sight of those hybrid creatures. He thought about Jack Monroe, who had stayed behind to hold off the swarm so the others could escape. Jack's last words echoed in Ryan's mind. Just finish it. Ryan clenched his fists tightly, feeling a mix of guilt and gratitude. Without Jack's bravery, none of them would have made it out alive. Dr. Emily Dawson sat nearby, her face pale and drawn. She couldn't stop thinking about the glowing orb they had destroyed. It wasn't just a machine. It had felt alive, as if it were some kind of heart for the entire alien fleet. What kind of beings could create something so monstrous? And why had they sent it to Earth? These questions haunted her, but she knew there might never be answers. Lieutenant Sarah Blake piloted the ship with steady hands, though her mind was elsewhere. She kept glancing at Ryan, wanting to say something but unsure of how to start. Finally, she broke the silence. "Do you think we'll ever know who sent them?" she asked softly. Ryan shook his head. "Maybe, but even if we do, it won't bring back the people we lost. All we can do now is focus on rebuilding." Dr. Alan Hayes nodded in agreement. "We stopped them this time," he said. "But we need to learn from this. If we don't figure out how to protect ourselves better, something like this could happen again." As the Eclipse approached Earth, the planet came into view, a mixture of beauty and devastation. Fires still burned in some areas, and smoke lingered in the atmosphere. But amidst the destruction, there were signs of hope. Survivors were working together to rebuild cities, sharing resources, and helping one another. Humanity had endured, proving once again that it wouldn't go down without a fight. When the ship landed at Haven 7, the underground bunker where Earth's leaders had gathered, the team was greeted as heroes. People cheered and clapped, thanking them for saving the planet. But Ryan and his crew didn't feel like heroes. They simply felt tired, physically, emotionally, and mentally drained. Days later, Haven 7 held a memorial service for those who had died during the invasion. Images of fallen soldiers, scientists, and civilians were displayed on screens throughout the bunker. Among them was Jack Monroe's picture. His smile stood out against the grim backdrop of the ceremony. When it was Ryan's turn to speak, he stepped forward, clearing his throat. "Jack gave his life so the rest of us could live," Ryan said, his voice steady despite the lump in his throat. He wasn't alone. Millions of people fought and died to protect this planet. We owe it to them to keep going, to rebuild, to grow stronger, and to never forget what happened here. After the ceremony, Emily returned to her lab. She continued studying the fragments of alien technology recovered from the mission, determined to understand more about their enemy. Her work consumed her, but it also gave her purpose. If she could uncover the secrets of the invaders, maybe humanity would stand a better chance next time. Sarah spent most of her time repairing the Eclipse, making sure it was ready for whatever might come next. She found comfort in the routine of tightening bolts and checking systems. It reminded her that even after everything they had been through, life went on. Ryan wandered the halls of Haven 7, speaking with survivors and listening to their stories. Each person had suffered in their own way, but they all shared a common determination to move forward. As he looked out at the damaged world above, Ryan felt a flicker of hope. Humanity had faced its darkest hour and survived. That meant something. Though the scars of the invasion would never fully heal, the resilience of the human spirit shone brighter than ever. Together, they vowed to honor the fallen by building a future worth fighting for. And somewhere deep inside, Ryan believed they could do it. Months passed, and Earth began to heal. The scars of the invasion were still visible: ruined cities, empty streets, and fields of ash. But life slowly returned to the planet. People worked tirelessly to rebuild, driven by a shared determination to rise from the ashes. In Haven 7, the underground bunker that had served as humanity's last refuge, plans for a new future took shape. The survivors knew they couldn't afford to forget what had happened. They needed to prepare for the possibility that something like this could happen again. Captain Ryan Carter spent most of his time traveling between different survivor camps, offering guidance and support. He wasn't the same man who had first boarded the Eclipse months ago. The weight of leadership and loss had changed him, but it had also made him stronger. Everywhere he went, people thanked him for his role in stopping the invaders. Yet Ryan didn't see himself as a hero. To him, the real heroes were those who had given their lives, the soldiers, scientists, and ordinary citizens who had fought until the end. Lieutenant Sarah Blake stayed busy too, overseeing the restoration of Earth's space program. The Eclipse had been repaired and upgraded, now serving as a symbol of hope rather than fear. Sarah believed humanity couldn't rely on luck or bravery alone next time. They needed better technology, faster ships, and stronger defenses. She poured her energy into training new pilots and engineers, determined to make sure Earth would never be caught off guard again. Dr. Emily Dawson continued her research, studying the fragments of alien technology recovered during the mission. Her lab became a hub of activity as she worked alongside other scientists to unlock its secrets. Though progress was slow, Emily remained hopeful. "If we can understand how they built those creatures," she told Ryan one evening, "we might be able to create countermeasures or even prevent them from coming back." The memory of Jack Monroe loomed large over everyone. His sacrifice had saved not just Ryan and the crew, but potentially all of humanity. During quiet moments, Ryan found himself thinking about Jack's courage and humor. He wished Jack could see how much his actions had meant to so many people. At night, when the bunker grew silent, Ryan often visited the memorial wall where Jack's name was engraved. He'd stand there for a while, reflecting on everything they had been through. As spring arrived, bringing with it the promise of renewal, Haven 7 held another gathering. This time, it wasn't a memorial. It was a celebration of survival. People came together to share stories, music, and laughter. For the first time in months, there was a sense of optimism in the air. Children played among the tents, their laughter echoing through the corridors. It was a reminder that life always finds a way to move forward. Ryan stood at the edge of the crowd, watching silently. Sarah joined him after a while, handing him a cup of coffee. "Feels good, doesn't it?" she said with a small smile. "It does," Ryan replied, nodding. "But we can't let our guard down. Not completely." "I know," Sarah said. "And we won't. But tonight, we deserve to breathe a little." Later that evening, Ryan climbed to the surface, stepping out under the stars. The sky was clearer now, free of the smoke and debris that had once blocked the view. He looked up at the vast expanse above, wondering if somewhere out there, others were watching Earth too. Were they friends, enemies, or something else entirely? For now, the questions didn't matter. What mattered was that humanity had survived. Together, they had faced an unimaginable threat and emerged stronger. Ryan took a deep breath, feeling the cool night air fill his lungs. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he knew they would face them together. As he turned to head back inside, he glanced at the horizon. The first rays of dawn were beginning to break through the darkness. It was a new day, a fresh start, and for the first time in a long time, Ryan felt ready to meet it.